We're going to pick up on our story where we left off yesterday. Luckily, we started a story map to keep track of this very interesting tale. Let's review it. Think, did we decide, is this a real story or a fantasy? We said it was a fantasy because even though some parts could happen, a lot of it never could. So it must be a fantasy. Let's look at our story map. Alright, remember we said the setting of this story was in the old man's little cabin. And our characters were the very old man and the wee little man. Do you remember them? Okay. So far he's had a couple problems. The first is that he was hungry, but then he got the full belly bowl from the wee little man. And then he left the bowl turned upright and he had spiders multiplying, right? They were everywhere. And he figured out that he just had to flip the bowl upside down and then nothing could get in it. Let's look at what we felt the most important parts so far were. We said that the first most important part was that he found the wee little man, right? And then he got the full belly bowl from the wee little man. And then the last page we read, he learned that he could multiply coins or money. I wonder what's going to happen next. The very old man spent the rest of the morning taking pennies from the bowl. He worked until his arm ached and the piles of pennies began to spill off onto the floor. It was then that he realized that if he had a gold coin, he could put it into the bowl and with the same small effort, make himself rich beyond his dreams. He decided to take the pennies to town and swap them for gold. His hands trembled with excitement as he swept the pennies off the table and into a flour sack. With the heavy sack slung over his shoulder, he closed the door behind him and leaving Angelina napping on the doorstep, but do we know for sure? Town. We don't. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, the very old man had been so excited at the thought of becoming rich that he had forgotten to put the bowl away. And even worse, in the days before the bowl, Angelina had kept the house free of mice, but now, with so much other food around, she hadn't taken as much interest in them. And worst of all, one of the mice, a great big one, thought he smelled something good to eat in the full belly bowl and started climbing up the very old man's chair, which is right next to the table. This is a good place to infer. When I infer, I think about the facts I know and try to come up with a new fact. I know that whatever goes into the bowl, many more will come out of the bowl. And I know that spiders and coins have multiplied. And now I know that a mouse is heading for the bowl. So I can infer that there will soon be many mice. Let's find out if I'm right. While that mouse was climbing up his chair, the very old man was swapping his pennies for 3 $10 gold pieces. Right away, he put one of them in his pocket to save for the full belly bowl. With another, he bought a pair of new boots and a fancy new vest with brass buttons. And since it was getting late and he was worn out from lugging that heavy sack of pennies, he decided to spend the third coin on a splendid dinner and a night's lodging in a comfortable hotel. So now we learn that the man is staying overnight in the town. What can we infer about the mice? Well, they'll spend all night climbing in and out of the bowl, which means it'll multiply even more. Uh-oh. By noon the next day, the very old man was home again, and one look at Angelina with her nose pressed against the bottom of the door and her tail twitching was enough to tell him that there was something wrong inside. And sure enough, there was. Mice! Everywhere! Great big ones! As fast as he could, the very old man made his way over to the table and dumped the last mouse out of the full belly bowl. Then he stood looking at Angelina. Uh-oh, we were right. How do you think he's going to get rid of all of these mice? Let's find out. She was chasing around in a frenzy, doing her best, but not knowing which mouse to go after first. Thinking fast, the very old man picked her up, gently folded her legs, and set her down in the full belly bowl. As soon as he took his hands away, Angelina jumped out again, and just that fast she was replaced by another cat that looked exactly like her. That cat jumped out to be replaced by a third, and so on until the house was wild with black and white cats chasing hundreds of mice. Was it really a good idea to make more Angelinas? What do you think? Very likely, those cats would still be jumping out of that full belly bowl to this day if one of them hadn't chased a mouse up onto the table and knocked the bowl onto the floor. It shattered to pieces. Still, the cats kept chasing after the mice, and by evening there wasn't a single mouse left in sight. Though relieved to be rid of the mice, the very old man was sad at first that the full belly bowl was broken. It had been nice not being so hungry all the time, but it had caused a lot of trouble too. And except for all of the cats, life soon returned pretty much to normal. So the man is both happy and sad that the bowl is broken. How would you have felt? He never saw the wee small man again, and he never got another full belly bowl. He did keep that $10 gold piece, however, and he promised himself that he would be much more careful next time, if there ever was a next time. And because they never sat still long enough to be counted, he never found out how many cats there were, and he never found out which one was Angelina. But in the end, it really didn't matter much. The truth is, he loved them all. To him, they were just about the sweetest cats in the whole world. All right, now that we know the rest of our story, we can use it to finish out our story map. Today we can write the words and I'll add in the pictures tomorrow for whenever we review it. So at the beginning of our story, we said that the important parts were that he found the wee little man, he got the full belly bowl, and he learned he could multiply coins. What were the next important parts? I think that one of them was he took coins and left the bowl. All right, he forgot to put up the bowl. Let's put instead of left the bowl and forgot to put the bowl away. Okay, so that probably was the next part that happened that was important, right? And while he was gone, what happened? While he was gone, mice got in the bowl. Uh-oh. Right? Okay. So that happened. Okay, and then he had a lot of mice. Shrink this down. He had a lot of mice. And then after that, he made a bunch of Angelinas. But one broke the bowl, right? He got rid of the bowl, never got another. I'd say those are our most important parts from today's part of the story. What would you think? He made cats, but one broke out of the bowl, right? And then he got rid of the bowl and he never got another one. He was kind of happy and sad when that happened, wasn't he? Got this thing right here that makes it hard to see over. There we go. We'll just do it like that. All right. Tomorrow we'll review our story.